Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the virtual program today, Collaboration in the Community for Success with Shannon Jenkins. I am Brittany Spillman, and I serve as the Carey Center Director of Community and Collegiate Programs. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to thank this year's sponsors. This virtual program's presenting sponsor is the Walker Area Community Foundation. The Walker Area Community Foundation is a nonprofit grant-making organization building the permanent capital needed to facilitate community conversations, inspire action, and empower partners. This year's community and collegiate program sponsors have pledged to support our efforts in providing meaningful programming for the nonprofit sector. Thank you to Auburn University Outreach, the East Alabama Community Foundation, the River Region United Way, Auburn University Outreach Office of Public Service, Social U, the Drummond Thornton Stukes Fund for Excellence, and a community service grant made possible by State Senator Randy Price and State Representative Joe Lover. Shannon Jenkins was named the president and CEO of the United Way of East Central Alabama in August of 2014. His career with the United Way began 20 years ago after his volunteerism in the organization created a deep passion for serving those in need. He served the organization in other capacities, including campaign coordinator and director of marketing and communications, prior to being named the CEO. Shannon has led United Way through a transformation of revenue and program diversification, growing the organization's revenue streams by 276% since 2015. In 2022, the United Way of East Central Alabama was ranked number 4 on Charity Navigator's National Top 10 Charities Worth Watching list. In 2021, Shannon was appointed by the city of Anniston to lead its Community Task Force on Homelessness. This work resulted in securing $1.2 million to establish a 24/7 emergency and transitional housing facility to include a framework for comprehensive wraparound services serving homeless residents throughout Calhoun County and its region. In addition to being CEO at the United Way, Shannon currently serves as the president of the Calhoun Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, vice chair of the Homeless Coalition of Northeast Alabama, vice chair of the board of directors for the United Ways of Alabama, and serves as a board member for the Rotary Club of Calhoun County. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jenkins as he shares about collaboration in the community for success.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Can y'all hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, very good. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to just share with y'all for just a little while. You read that bio, and sometimes I don't even feel like we've accomplished everything we've accomplished, because it does feel like it's been a whirlwind, while at the same time it has been a long journey and hard work when you look back at it. But it was all well worth it. And what you'll find out today as I'm talking to you is that our growth in capacity, our revenue diversification, and really everything that we have accomplished has came from collaboration. And so I just want you to hear that. So collaboration is incredibly important, especially in today's landscape of funders and other nonprofits and even multi-sector collaborations. There's so much strength in that. So we're going to get started today, and here's what I'll say to you as we get started. Some of this at the first may be a little elementary for you. I really feel like the depth of this is going to come when I start sharing kind of our journey. It always helps me to hear somebody else's journey, to see examples of how things are applied and how it all comes to fruition for success. And so if it's a little elementary at first, just bear with me. I will say there may be some folks on that have much more experience in this than we do, and larger organizations on the call. And so always feel free, maybe at the end with questions or whatever, to comment and give your own tips. I will also say, I think I recognized I've got some great friends on the call from some neighboring counties. So I just want to say thank you for joining today. All right. Let me see. There we go. So just looking at our learning objectives for the day, these are just some things that I want to talk to you about. Starting with, why collaborate? And that's kind of that elementary side. You think, well, we all need to be collaborating, but really, why collaborate in the first place? The types of collaborations, the starting point, kind of where you start, and then the journey and the payoff. And so those are just the things that I'm going to highlight as I go along. And I hope that you get something out of it. I always start, I'm always interested to know what artificial intelligence today says about things and if it gets things correct. So instead of going to Webster's, I went to ChatGPT and I just wanted to know what it thought community collaborations mean. And it actually did a great job. Community collaboration is a process where people from different groups work together to achieve a shared vision or goal. And then I kind of reframed the question and asked it a different way and got what's in red there. And I really liked that one better than the first one. Working with community members as equal partners, collaboratives co-create solutions that meet the needs of the community. And so, hey, ChatGPT did a good job this time. And I just got a couple of quotes that I love, and it's really about teamwork and working together. Y'all are probably familiar with this one from Henry Ford. If everyone is moving forward together, then success will take care of itself. Now, there's a lot of hard work. It doesn't really just take care of itself. But really, if everybody is kind of in that same mindset and start sharing the same vision and really comes together as trusted partners with each other, success does come. And so I love that quote. And then the next one, and this is the last one, but this is the one I really want you to see. The strength of the team is each individual member, but the strength of each member is the team. And when you're working in collaboration, that is so true. The strength of each member is the team because you use and you lean on each other's strengths, on each other's missions, on each other's expertise to really get the job done for the community. And that's what collaboration really is all about. So why collaborate in the first place? And we, if you are in the nonprofit sector, this may not happen in other sectors. If you're joining us from another sector, but I know especially in the nonprofit sector, we tend to want to work in silos. We talk about partnerships all the time. We talk about collaborations all the time. But the easy thing to do and the thing that you just kind of fall back to is doing your own thing because you trust yourself sometimes more than you trust others. You like to control the quality and control the work to know what is being delivered. And sometimes it can be hard just to trust and collaborate with folks. And so I just want to talk to you for just a moment of why collaborate in the first place and answer that question. Well, one of the reasons is funders and funding, and like I say, that changing landscape. And many of you have probably experienced this. An estimated $2.9 billion in U.S. philanthropic funding. This was in 2023 from private foundations were earmarked for collaborative projects. And that just simply means that those foundations, those funders, when they're putting out their proposal or notice for funding and proposals, they are looking for collaborative efforts, and that's really what they want to entertain. And they have earmarked money for collaborative projects. And then I thought the next one was interesting as well. The last 5 years has seen a significant uptick of corporate and private funders emphasizing collaborative efforts, and some favoring collaborations over funding singular agencies and projects. We have experienced that over and over again as a United Way that not only are we a grantor, we are a grantee. We see that on both sides because we love for our funded community partners that we fund directly to partner and collaborate with each other. But even our local Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama, gives some bonus points on their applications if and considers, I guess, I don't know if they actually elevate it or not, but they do give bonus points if it is a collaboration that you are applying for. And so we see that over and over again. And then I'll also emphasize, if you're looking at state funding and federal funding, a lot of times they love to see a collaborative group come together with second tier and second sub-tier partners all together in that collaboration and requesting funding together for a collaborative effort. And so if there's no other reason to collaborate, that's a reason to collaborate when you're looking at funding. But here are really the things that kind of came to the top when I was thinking of reasons to collaborate, and really just kind of an idea of maybe the top six. There's other reasons, but this is just kind of what I highlighted, and we'll go over those really quickly. And I don't want to sit here and just read to you, but really problem solving and creating solutions. There are problems in our communities, issues that are facing our residents, and there is no way for one agency to really solve those problems. It is gonna take collaboration to begin to solve and create solutions for those. And so I put that one at number one. When you collaborate, you do have a diverse group in the room, typically with different expertise that you can lean on and perspectives. It combines your knowledge, your skills, develops more effective strategies. So that I think that is an important one. And like I say, kind of rank that one at number one. Obviously, engagement and community ownership. What we have found as we have continued to build collaborations is that those who are sitting around the table, when we start to engage with and convene stakeholders, they feel like they are a part of the solution. Whatever comes out of that, it really fosters that sense of ownership. And so what we've discovered is you don't have to go out then and sell it to people, because they've been a part of the process. And then they also take ownership of it. And when you're going out into the community and you start talking about a collaboration and what your vision is, what you're wanting to do together, you have influential people that are already a part of it and believe in it because they've been part of coming up with the solution. The credibility and trust. I can't say enough about trust and finding partners that you can trust and collaborating with those that you can trust. I can tell you, if you're a fairly new organization, maybe you don't have a long history, one of the best things that you can do is start looking for collaborations and find those in the community that others trust, because I can guarantee you that working with well-respected partners, it elevates the trust of all involved. And so just keep that in mind when you're thinking about collaborations and why you should be seeking that out. The accountability factor is there as well. The community sees that there are multiple organizations involved, and they know that you're probably going to hold each other accountable to get the results that you say you can get. And so it tends to drive better results as well. Sustainability is obvious because you have the strength of many organizations or multiple organizations coming together And typically, if it's a funding collaboration, you work with a backbone, is what we call it, a backbone organization that's kind of already trusted uh, on their fiduciary side of things. It doesn't have to be that way, but a lot of times it's just kind of lending the strength again, the depth of the backroom office and finances and then the expertise out front that's kind of getting the job done. It helps. It also helps in course correction. So when things kind of, you know, you had this grand idea and you thought you had all the processes in place that was going to solve issues. Um, it helps with course correction and more easily being able to make changes and challenges because you're working on that together as a group, and you're working through the processes and you have more people in the room to really talk through those issues and those problems and get things course corrected. Increased funding. Can't say enough about that. We're going to talk a lot about that in just a moment. But obviously, it doesn't just increase funding. It can be more efficient because it can reduce costs and increase efficiency because all of the partners are sharing the load. But obviously, what happens is when you come up with a plan for, say, coordinated service delivery, you come up with a plan that's going to have data and results and be able to show an impact. Your funders are going to be more interested in it because they are going to see, they're going to perceive a greater return on their investment into the project and into the collaboration. And same thing on that last bullet point, it appeals to the individual donors as well. We're not just talking about big funders. We're not just talking about, your local foundations. We find that even our individual donors sometimes are more willing to invest because they love the idea of collaborative work. And then the last one on just thinking about why to collaborate, impact and results, and that is obviously a hot topic with funders and with the community alike when you're talking about your work. And so it helps you expand your reach, it amplifies your impact. You are engaging a broader audience because you are engaging the audience of every member at the table who is part of the collaboration. And resource sharing and data sharing is very powerful in a collaboration. What we have found in our collaborations is we may have one idea of how to capture our data or capture our results. But then we have another partner that sees it in a totally different way because their mission may be a little bit different, but it's all fitting into the gears, of the project. And so they will come up with a way to capture the data or a way to talk about the data and talk about the results that we haven't even talked about. That we haven't even thought about, and kind of vice versa. So, just having all those minds together and then being able to share the data across the board. It even helps with, putting together, and I was talking about course correcting earlier, but, you have this idea that something's going to work, and just making slight adjustments where if your agency is delivering one part of the service and that may be working for a certain group of people, but then when those clients are moving to the next step at another agency, they see a deficiency that's not happening here, and all that's communicated, and then that's implemented, and you're just strengthening, your protocols and your policies, and just kind of how you're moving clients through for greater results. And then obviously the comprehensive approach to addressing needs. And the next thing I want to talk about is just types of collaboration. We're not gonna, I don't have individual screens for those, so don't think we're gonna go through a lot of that again with reading off screens. But there are many types of collaborations. These are really the ones that I wanted to highlight today because I feel like they're probably the most common. And I'll just talk about these real quick. Um, Program partnerships. Program partnerships really is where, you may have several nonprofits that come together. They realize they have shared clients. So they just kind of start talking to each other and they start figuring out, how to work together to enhance each other's work in the community and really to serve the community better. Uh, Issue-based coalitions, that's going to be things like a task force. That's going to be things that really focus in and hone in uh, on maybe one particular issue in the community and figuring out how to solve that. And then you have advocacy alliances, which is it's not really a task like it's kind of like a task force, but it's really, again, those who are coming together around one particular advocacy topic or maybe a few topics, for a certain population set or something like that, and really just talking about how they can affect change, typically with policy, government policy, and things like that. The cross-sector collaborations are my very favorite because you really start expanding the way you think when you start looking at cross-sector collaborations because it brings in so many different sectors. You kind of step outside, you have to step out of your nonprofit world for a minute, and you have to start seeing things from the perspective of, say, the business community, the corporate partners, the public service partners and the government partners. And all of those sectors can have different reasons for why they're at the table, and for why they want to solve a particular issue or something, in the community. And so I have learned more from being a part of those multi-sector, cross-sector collaborations than I have in any other. And then funding collaborations, and that's uh, it's kind of like the program partnerships. It's almost one and the same a lot of times, and it's just where partners are coming together and they're really just they're focusing in on a solution, or there needs to be more funding for a particular you know issue or something in the community, and so those funding they all come together to try to come up with ways to get more funding, or even that sometimes develops into like program partnerships or cross-sector collaborations. It's just you kind of start with the idea of we're coming together because we need more money to fix this problem. And so I really just kind of wanted to move, and I'm kind of flying through this, I think, but um, I wanted to move into tips before you begin, and these are things that we have learned. Some of those we've learned the hard way by experience, but I always want to share these with folks before you even attempt to really get into a collaboration with, MOUs and contracts and different things like that. So the very first one is the most important. Ensure your organization is healthy and ready to collaborate. You want to seek out trusted partners, but you also want to be a trusted partner. And tend to know, people tend to know if your organization really is healthy and ready. So just make sure that you've done your work internally as an organization. If you are a nonprofit, make sure that everybody is on board to collaborate, and that means your board of directors, your staff, really just everybody in general. And again, I could probably do a whole session on ensuring your organization is healthy and all the things that that need to happen internally to make sure you're there. But that's where you really want to start. And then I've already talked about seeking out trusted partners. I can say that there is nothing that will ruin a collaboration faster than getting into that collaboration with partners that you can't trust, who end up maybe not following through, um, or you know they may be kind of a mess internally. So you just want to make sure that you're vetting as much as you can. Typically, their reputation will, kind of go before them and precede them, and you can't always get it right. There are times that you think a partner may be really healthy, and then you get involved in a business relationship or collaboration with them, and you find out otherwise. But I would just advise, seek out those trusted partners. Um, and I want to say proprietary mindsets are never successful. Again, I just talked about a moment ago about silos and how a lot of times we tend to work in a silo because that's what we know. Sometimes collaborations, if you're used to having control, uh, collaborations can be difficult. So, you know, that proprietary mindset, you got to remember that everyone is going to share in the work, and everyone is going to share ownership of the work. And so just make sure you're prepared for that as you move forward. Um, Always be looking for opportunities. Um, Always be open to conversation. Always be just kind of, when you're listening in different meetings and when you're in the community, um, there may be things that you didn't even think of that would really fit with your mission and in your wheelhouse, and you could be a great collaborative partner somewhere in the community. So I just tell you, always be looking for those opportunities, but avoid mission drift. And I have seen this. I have seen folks get into collaborations, and they were doing a part of the work that really didn't fit into their organization's work, their mission, or anything like that. So just make sure that what you're bringing to the table and what you're offering does fit in, your mission, and it is your kind of expertise. Um, and then the last one, I can't emphasize enough: be ready for hard conversations and even harder work. Collaborations are well worth it, but success doesn't come easy. Success typically takes time, and it takes a lot of work. And when I say be ready for hard conversations, um, I hope that you all are part of organizations that have a great board of directors, that you and your staff and your board of directors can have a good, healthy debate. You've got to learn not to get your feelings hurt, um, and understand that hard conversations sometimes are necessary between partners, between collaborators, even between just stakeholders, as you are trying to learn what the issues really are. Because there may be a perception out there that this is the issue, but when you start looking at the underlying factors that are contributing to those issues, it may totally shift your way of thinking of how you think solutions need to be delivered. And so sometimes you'll be the one, instigating those hard conversations, and sometimes it'll be somebody else at the table doing that. And so you just have to be ready and be okay with those hard conversations and harder work. So in thinking where to begin, and I just tried to think, if I had not been at United Way for 20 years, and I was really trying to just get the word out, that we were open to collaboration, or find people to collaborate with. I thought this is where I would start, and simply just go where the collaborations are already happening. Now, obviously, these are not always structured collaborations, and in memorandum of understandings, together, anything like that. but there is collaboration happening all over your community already. Uh, Children's Policy Council is great. I've got, you see toward the bottom middle of the screen, I've got committee work. Children's Policy Council is a place where if you have that active in your community, um, most of them are set up with committee work underneath the overall CPC. And so finding your committee and getting involved in that committee can be a great place to start just having some conversations. Um, Obviously, your Chamber of Commerce is a great place to start. If you, I'm going to sound like an advertisement for Chambers of Commerce, but I'm just telling you, if you have a really active Chamber of Commerce, there's a lot of collaboration that works, that happens within the chamber. Um, and I know our local chamber obviously also has, committees, and they have ambassador groups, and they have all kinds of things going on. If you are a nonprofit, uh, you know, just remember the Chamber of Commerce is important to your community, because they are promoting, community development, economic development, growth, and if you're a nonprofit, you want all of those things to happen. So get involved, be a part of that, and you'll probably find. Uh, and I'm not talking about just nonprofit collaborations. That is a great place to start for multi-sector collaboration. Um, from time to time, I just, I'll attend our city council meetings or our commission meetings. Sometimes I go to give them an update about what our organization is doing, but sometimes I just go, and I just go to see what's going on and who's there, and just kind of talk. Obviously, networking and learning events, and those happen all the time. The continuum of care, that typically is that homeless coalition in your community. And if you're providing any type of service that may help or affect someone who is experiencing homelessness or maybe on at risk, of experiencing homelessness, or really if you're just concerned about your community and things like affordable housing and those things, continuum of care is a great place to go, because you will find kind of that at least for us, you'll find kind of a multi-sector group there. Civic service clubs, Rotary, Kiwanis, those types of things. Some people join those clubs just to kind of have it on their resume and say they're a member. But some people really join those clubs for service, and so seek that out because those are especially when they are stakeholders in the community and service club members. That's a great place to be. We have nonprofit roundtables in our community. That's always a great place to go. And then don't underestimate the power of the casual conversation. Don't be afraid, when you get in conversations with folks who seem to have an interest in what's happening in the community. Especially they care about the community. Don't underestimate what just a simple conversation can lead to. Because I have had some simple conversations that have really led to some exciting work. So let's just talk about the journey. And I think I'm doing okay on time. And I just want to get you through, or just give you kind of a taste of our journey. And I hope that looking at our journey, I really hope that you can kind of take something from this and maybe see a little more visually how all of this kind of worked together. But really, when I became the CEO, and let me say, all United Ways are different. There is no right or wrong model with United Ways. There's a traditional model where you fundraise and you fund partner agencies or community partners. That's a collaboration in and of itself. We have worked to diversify our revenue, and so we are a little different model of a United Way. But that really happened for us when I became the CEO, and that was 10 years ago now. A couple of years after I became the CEO, it was almost like we were spinning our wheels. And so we were really hungry to just kind of, I guess, think outside the box a little bit about our United Way. And so we came together in a board meeting and really asked these questions, the staff and the board together. And by the way, our whole staff, at least our program directors, all attend our board meetings. We have a great relationship with our board. Um, but we asked these three questions. Are we still relevant? Every nonprofit needs to ask that. Every now and then, you just need to ask, are we still relevant? Are we effective? And how do we get unstuck? Because we just felt like we were kind of stuck doing this same thing year after year over and over again. And while we had some success at it, there just wasn't very much growth. So we asked those three questions, and kind of this is what came out of that. What got us here won't get us there. And so it's really time to do something a little different. That led us into a strategic plan. We actually hired an individual to come from the outside, looking in to facilitate, and did an amazing job with us. Of course, we did everything through the lens. We knew that our mission was not going to change, our brand position and our vision would not change. So we just tried to look at everything through that lens as we were starting to move forward. Out of that strategic plan came three strategic imperatives. Um, and I'll go from the bottom up because strengthen our governance and engagement through a more strategic board design and development. Diversify both engagement and revenue to drive our mission, which was a big key. But it's interesting that number one was to convene, connect, and collaborate for collective action toward measurable impact. And that's why I say we followed this plan to a T. It was not a plan that sat on the shelf. We followed it to a T, and we accomplished every one of these goals. And I'm so proud. I didn't do that alone. It was a team effort by our staff and our board, who all shared this vision and desire for accomplishing those strategic imperatives. And so I just want you to see this is really where it all began for us. We knew we wanted to diversify. We wanted to intentionally try to find funding, and we wanted to find renewable, larger pots of funding. But we did not want to duplicate any services in our community. We did not want to duplicate services that our community partners were providing. And we wanted it to be meaningful. We wanted what we did to be meaningful moving forward. And so this is the first thing that happened. And I'm just going to tell you a little story about how this happened. I was in Rotary Club. I was a member of Rotary with our local DA. He was in the club as well, and so we were both members and had gotten to know him. And so I just want to preface it by saying, so I already had an established relationship with him. I was always really impressed with him, and maybe your DA in your area is the same way. But I was always impressed with him because he was always so interested in prevention programs. Not just prosecution, but really, he was always interested in helping establish or stand up programs that would prevent crimes from ever happening. And so I really loved his heart. And so I also sat on the Title IV Reviews Committee and the Federal Program Reviews Committee for Calhoun County Schools. And so I was at one of those committee meetings one day, and they had a little extra money, and they were trying to decide what they were going to do with it. And there was a representative there from the DA's office, and she said, well, we have this funding, and the funding is really supposed to be used to help our school systems with chronic absenteeism, because At the state level and at the local level, we feel like if we could affect that and the kids were in the classroom and stayed in school and graduated, they're just going to be on a path. It's going to reduce crime and substance misuse and, all of these other things, juvenile detention. And so behavioral, major behavioral issues, mental health, just really affect all of that. And she said, so, we're just really looking for partners to try to figure out how we can deliver that. There's a loose model for it, but every community can kind of do it different. And so I just said, hey, we're interested. I said, we have been so interested in affecting, mental health and doing prevention programs. I said, we would love to just kind of sit down and talk that through and see what that looks like. And so us and the DA's office and Calhoun County Schools got together and really started just talking about this program. And Calhoun County Schools was so open to it because they really wanted it. And so what came out of that was locally a collaboration between the district attorney's office and United Way. And so the district attorney's office funds the program, put money in the program, as well as United Way. We had money that we could put in the program. And Calhoun County Schools invest in the program as well. And over time, once we were successful with that, well, then the other school systems started being really interested in it as well. And so Cleveland County Schools, Oxford City Schools, Anniston City Schools have all came on board. We're talking to Piedmont City Schools right now to come on board. And so it is a supportive and comprehensive approach to ending chronic absenteeism. And it offers connections to wraparound services. It's kind of a multi-generational approach because we're not just helping the students, we're helping, the household and the families. The idea is that when a student is chronically absent, we're not just taking them to early warning court. We're not just putting the parents in jail or threatening to put the parents in jail. We're really, a lot of times it is a phone call and the child comes right back to school. But there are plenty of times that our case managers, case officers make one-to-one contact. Sometimes it's home visits because we're really trying to figure out what is keeping this student from being in the classroom. And we find out all kinds of things. It could be anything from they're ashamed of the clothes they have to a 16-year-old that's virtually working a full-time job because they're trying to help support the household and they can't get up, at 6 a.m. and get to school. Sometimes it's transportation. We have found that there is generational mental illness that has never been diagnosed. There's just a plethora of reasons that our students sometimes can't come to school or don't come to school. So the idea of that is to provide wraparound services to make sure that our students can get to school, that they're prepared when they get there, and they are ready to graduate. We employ, and it's United Way that employ the funding all comes together. United Way employs 2 case officers. We actually just hired our 3rd because we got an increase in funding. And as we're looking to bring on another school, we are already preparing for that. And then we hire and employ a crisis intervention specialist. And that was really part of the key of some of our school systems just really jumping on board. A lot of our school systems do have mental health officers now on staff, but at the time, it was the nurses or the social workers who were having to deal with students and sometimes adults who were having suicidal ideology, just some sad situations. And that crisis intervention specialist could be called at any time out to a school and immediately assess a situation and figure out the next step. But you see the result there. Just last year alone, we provided wraparound services for 754 students, reduced chronic absenteeism at Oxford City Schools in the first year that we were there by 35.4%, and year over year in Calhoun County schools by 20%. So just great results on that. Okay, I'm going to move through these next ones quickly because I think I'm running out of time. Community Task Force, y'all heard a little about that. The city of Anniston asked us to lead that, and we were so honored to do that because it has been a growing problem in our area. Our shelter service actually shut down and just closed down in 2019. So we've been without shelter services locally since 2019. This is a great example of both an issue-based coalition that kind of went into the cross-sector collaboration that I talked about earlier, because we really worked for this to be a multi-sector task force, because it organically does everything you need it to do. Diverse perspectives, diversity in race, diversity, just in everybody coming together. And so you have all those different perspectives from the faith-based community, nonprofits, things like substance misuse, healthcare, mental health, corporate partners, downtown and small business community, education, public service and government. I mean, that included everything from literally our municipality representation, the housing, the public housing, DHR, all of that kind of fell under public service and government. So it was a great group to work with. And really what came out of all that, what spun out of all of that was a true collaborative effort between the City of Anniston United Way and Anniston First United Methodist Church. We came up with a plan. It will be, as you've already heard, it will serve, I think, 82 individuals. We'll have some family suites as well. One floor will be emergency shelter services. The other floor will be transitional housing. It will include case managers on site. It will include wraparound services, comprehensive. So it can kind of be a one-stop shop in some ways, but we do have other partners where that we're collaborating with to provide some of those wraparound services. And we're close. We got all the plans. We should be awarding a contract for the construction, and we're hoping to break ground the 1st of September. And this is, once we put the plan out, we started talking about it. The community absolutely got on board and loved it. The city of Anniston committed $1.2 million. We've raised additional 1.7 in our capital campaign. So we have all the money we need. We are ready to build some great, and you see those committed partners are funding partners of this. So, and that's a cross section from our faith-based community, private foundations, individuals, city, it's just kind of all there. And then the other thing that spun out of that was our Thrive Integrative Mental Health Initiative. And this is the last thing I'm going to go over. But this really spun out of the need of thinking, how are we going to serve our clients? We know that most of our individuals that are experiencing homelessness chronically are suffering from mental illness. And although we have a provider locally that can see those individuals, the caseload is so huge they can't necessarily see them as frequently as they need to. And the case management kind of social work side is not necessarily always there either. And so as we talked about that, this is kind of that program partnership and funding collaboration kind of coming together here. We have collaborated with Interfaith Ministries and St. Michael's Medical Clinic, which serves our uninsured and underinsured, and they are a pretty comprehensive medical clinic. We came together to establish Thrive, an integrative mental health initiative. We have successfully funded this, and I'll That's on the next screen, and I'll be done. Um, United Way, I'm sorry, we'll be hiring a licensed clinical social worker as well as a mental health professional. St. Michael's will be able to oversee kind of the clinical side of that, including prescription medications. The social worker will act as a case manager just to ensure they're getting to their appointments. They have transportation to get there. They're taking their medication as they need to. And Interfaith Ministries is providing space for group therapy sessions, one-to-one therapy sessions, as well as they have a free medication program. And so we are really, really excited about this. And this is kind of the culmination of that. The city of Anniston again came to the table. They have been phenomenal for us. Our local community foundation has put in dollars. Our local hospital, regional medical center foundation has put in dollars. And then we got a grant from the Caring Foundation of Blue Cross Blue Shield. To do this program. And I don't have results yet because we are interviewing our staff right now and we are about to make that hire. But we expect that it will be up and running before the end of August, and we can start just really intensively working with our clients and hopefully make a big difference in their lives and their stability. Last screen, the payoff. We are more relevant to our community than we have ever been before. There are more collaborations I could go over, don't have time. Solidified our position as a trusted partner across multiple sectors. Meaningful story to tell. We have a story to tell, y'all. And that includes everything from data impact and results to just the collaborations in general and the exciting programs, direct service programs that we're involved in. It did amplify our voice. People do tend to listen when we speak, and we have a seat at the table. We don't really have to fight for that seat at the table anymore. We could convene our own conversations and we could bring people together, but there was other conversations that may happen in the community that I would be envious of because I'd be like, I want to be at the table for that. So it really has kind of secured that for us. And then it's grown our capacity to serve our community and fulfill our mission. And then collaborations have directly diversified and increased revenue. Oh, no, that's not the last screen. Collaborations for success. I just wanted you to see that. 2018, we had 5.5 staff, 5 full-time, 1 part-time. Our revenue was about $950. This year, our revenue is projected. We've already gotten more funding, so it's actually going to be over 4 million at this point. Our staff has grown to 21. We had a summer cookout for our staff. They're going to kill me for showing you this picture because we have a youth diversion program, and they have students all the time except for the month of July. So they typically don't get to be with us. So when we have big meetings and all, and because they have students that they're doing education and therapeutic services with. So in July, we had a cookout so everybody could come together. So we're dressed like, we're at a cookout, but that's the staff that was there that day. I'm so proud of our team, so proud of our board of directors, so proud of our staff. And I'm telling you, don't be afraid to collaborate. It has been a major part of our growth and our growth capacity and our success. I'm done. I don't know. Can we take questions or?
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions for Shannon? You are welcome to unmute or type it in the chat, either one. While you're thinking of your questions, I'm going to go ahead and Shannon, thank you so much for a wonderful program today and all of the examples that you gave about community collaboration and the impact that it makes. Everyone, you'll be getting an email from me with a link to today's presentation and recording and a short 3-question survey, as well as an opportunity to sign up to be a Carey Center nonprofit affiliate. The Carey Center Nonprofit Affiliate Program currently serves over 345 nonprofits in Alabama and beyond and offers educational programming, professional development, and networking opportunities to nonprofit professionals. Carey Center Nonprofit Affiliates are the first to learn about upcoming programming, and membership is free. We are excited to announce that we now have the Carey Center Nonprofit Professional Certificate. This is an online non-degreed certificate and offered through a partnership with the Auburn University Office of Professional and Continuing Education and Merit Nonprofit Professional Development, and it provides a tailored curriculum for nonprofit professionals. Merit is an anytime, anywhere micro-learning platform that builds 6 core nonprofits proficiency areas, which include leading, learning, resource generating, planning, managing, and overseeing through 28 different learning paths. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at one of our monthly virtual programs or in person for our nonprofit training series, currently traveling the state. Does anybody have?
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Please
you.
forgive me. No, thank you all so much. And Shannon, also, I wrote his last name down. Please forgive me. Excellent. I can't think of a question right this moment, but if I had another one for Shannon, would it be all right to call him if I thought of a question?
Absolutely. I love to share, I mean,
Oh gosh.
I want it. I want everybody to be successful, and so please feel free to reach out with any questions.
Thank you so much for your professionalism. I really appreciate it, sir. Great.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, we thank you so much for attending today, and we hope to see you soon.
Tracy, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Tracy. What Mr. Jenkins' title? He's with the United Way.
I'm with the United Way of East Central Alabama. I'm the president and CEO.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank y'all. Have a wonderful day.